Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Emily,
And my name is Andrew.
and today we're going to
Talk about stuff.
and things
Stuff and things.
and things and stuff. Yes, stuff and things and stuff. We're gonna talk. Hey, we actually did it that time.
Hey, yay, we're getting somewhere with it.
Yes. So should that be our new theme song? Please send
No.
us messages. I'll do a
No.
poll. I'll do a poll in the Facebook group. How's that?
Democracy, really? We're using that as
Uh,
our fallback?
Veto power.
Fair.
Yes. Yes. So, yesterday was Saturday,
Twas.
the 13th of April, which means it was Record Store Day. And Record Store Day is one of my favorite days of the year. I think I've only missed one or two. Have you ever done it?
I have not.
Oh,
I only went through a short period of my life where I was really invested in trying to get my hands on vinyl, and that was in 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. And
wow.
I still have all my vinyl. I haven't picked up a record player again since. The only reason why I had a record player at the time is because I was using my roommates in college,
Ah, yes.
which was super cool at the time. He had a really nice record player and giant, these like giant 70s panel speakers. And
Oh,
so they did have
yeah.
like a cone. I don't honestly know how the speakers worked, but the fidelity was ridiculous. And my desk was in the living room, the way we had it set up. And so was the speaker. So I would throw on a record and then do homework at my desk and
Mm,
listen to it in full high fidelity stereo.
yeah, there's a lot I love about records, and one of the things that it's a love and hate relationship is flipping it.
Yes.
Um, it just makes you, I feel like it forces you to be kind of present and have like a physical relationship with the music that you're listening to versus, you know, putting on a 5 hour long playlist and just kind of rolling through it and not really thinking about it again. So
Yeah, I found it was helpful because it forced me to take homework breaks,
and that is
flip the
important.
record, grab another
Yeah.
drink.
Yeah. A drink of red wine.
Not that year because I was not 21 and I wasn't brave enough to drink under the age of 21 on my dry campus.
I didn't drink at all on my dry campus. I didn't actually drink at all really until I was 25. I didn't feel like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I had the weird thing where I would drink in high school because it was legal in Germany, and that
Right.
was just, have a beer on the back porch with my dad. That was totally normally acceptable.
Mhm.
And then going to college, and it was like, I can't even have a drink with my dinner. This is so strange. So
Yeah,
I
it's
did
an
great
interesting.
for I didn't really drink for the first couple of years of college, and then I hit my wild phase,
Yeah.
and which all things considered, not that wild.
Yeah.
I'm when I party, it's party with a lowercase p.
I mean, I'm not a big partier, but to me, Record Store Day is one of the things I liked about it was when I lived in Nashville, I'd always go to Grammy's record store, and they would always have this big outdoor party with bands and everything in the shop was on sale, and there were food trucks, and it really was a party. And I know that Easy Street Records in West Seattle does more of the party thing, but I live so close to Sonic Boom in Ballard, and I
Mhm.
know a lot of the employees there from my time with Timber and Artist Home, and the owner and I have, he's a great guy, Mike Pitts, um, and I just we Rick and I woke up uh really early, not really early. People apparently started lining up at like 4 in the morning, but Rick and I got there around 8 on our bikes, just kind of soaked. It rained only on our way to the record store. But Mike brought out donuts and coffee for everybody.
Aw.
I got everything I really cared about getting, including uh Prince had um in the 90s, the first thing he ever released as the symbol was sort of an unofficial release. It was a cassette tape he did for the Versace fashion show for Fashion Week. And these things used to go for like $4,000. And
Holy cow.
I know there weren't a lot of them made, and there still aren't a lot of them, but they made 4,000, and I picked up one, and that's like the thing. I was like, if nothing else, I want that, and I want this. There's another Prince thing that came out that I picked up. That was only I think released in Japan. It's just a bunch of remixes, and dance mixes, which is cool. And then an Elvis Costello thing. So it's like if nothing else, I want those and the Julian Baker 45. So we picked up those, played through most of them. Rick and I, since we were got there so early, we were very excited because it's the first year in Seattle that we've gotten early enough to get special swag. The record stores were giving out record store day bags, and they were all packed with all kinds of goodies or garbage, depending on how you look at it. I got I got something that's kind of mysterious. It has like some mysterious autographs on it. I
Hmm.
assume it's the record shop employees, but I legitimately don't know what it is. But and some buttons. Who's that? Is it Mac DeMarco or is it Mark DeMacco? Mac DeMarco? That sounds right.
Your
That's a
guess is
person.
as good as mine.
Yeah, I got an enamel pin from him, and I love enamel pins. I don't really know who he is, so
But we thank him for his existence anyways.
yes, thank you
Thank you for
for the
existing.
button. Yes. Actually, the only I have heard of this person. Do you know who Mitski is? No.
I don't think so.
Well, she's one great, and one of the best albums I've heard the past year is her most recent record, "Be the Cowboy," and he's releasing a record that has the word cowboy in it. And I think his first single from that album is going to have the same title as one of the songs on the Mitski album. And
Hmm.
I do believe it's entirely coincidental on his part, but that nobody else in his circle said, um, wait, I mean, it's maybe rethink this.
Right.
Yeah. So, but that's just a long story short, or short story long if you want to sound like an old person who says that kind of thing. Um,
Mm.
but I had
That
just
was my short story long.
short story long. Record store day, one of my favorite days of the year. Um, Big shout out to Sonic Boom for putting it on. If you're ever in Seattle, check them out. Say hi to all of them. Just, I love supporting local record stores, and I love keeping my money in my community whenever possible.
That's definitely I'm a fan of supporting small businesses, but we'll come back to that. Can we switch gears and talk about arguably one of the biggest businesses in the world?
Yes.
Just to set up an extreme level of hypocrisy for today's topic.
I don't call it hypocrisy.
Well, it's going to sound a little hypocritical in context,
Go for
but
it.
Friday, one of the most groundbreaking things hit, and that was the teaser trailer for episode 9.
It's finally here.
Yeah,
I know
it.
we have all have more questions than answers, don't we?
I don't know about that, but oh man, so if you don't know this, I'm a huge Star Wars fanatic, and it's not quite unhealthy, but it's not terribly far off from becoming an unhealthy obsession. So like
Oh, you're
if
fine.
like the question that goes around is like, oh, other than guitar, what do you do? And my answers are Star Wars
Mhm.
and Age of Empires. But
What's
that's a
that? I'm kidding.
that's uh, I do every once in a while. One of the ways I de-stress in a quiet fashion, typically late at night when guitar is no longer super chill, is a nice round of Age of Empires 2. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's a digression. We can talk more about that another day, or if you want to talk about that with me, join our Facebook group and just hit me up with your Steam account, and maybe we can get together and play sometime.
Yeah,
That'd
please
be
do
super
that
fun.
because I don't really want to talk about video games on the podcast.
Yeah, it's fun. There's lots of economy and stuff. It's
Star Wars.
exciting. Star Wars. So Star Wars is probably the thing I've been into that is the most invested franchise. the franchise I'm most invested in. I cannot talk today. Goodness. So I love Star Wars. I like literally on my desk right now. I've got 4 Star Wars pint glasses. I have a lunchbox. I've got a poster on the wall behind me. I just a bunch of stuff in my closet is Star Wars themed. It's yeah, I love it. I breathe it, and I am very hopeful to see how Episode 9 wraps up this trilogy, which has had its ups and definitely had its downs. But super
Let's focus
excited
on the ups.
I'm super excited about the trailer. If you didn't watch it, please do so, and then also check out my alternate ending that I edited
It's not
to
just
be fun.
alternate, it's true. It's the real
Yeah,
one. The one Disney doesn't want
this
you to
is
see.
right. Share it, get the word out so people know the truth. The people deserve to know the truth and to not have it suppressed by the mouse.
Mm, yes, don't be suppressed by the mouse. The mouse is a suppressor.
I'm being repressed. I'm being repressed.
I'm being repressed.
Look at me, the mouse. He's repressing me.
It does. It does.
Who made
That's
you king?
gosh, copyright laws and money.
That'll do it.
It will.
Um, I'm gonna, for the sake of our listeners who either don't watch teaser trailers, so they can be as surprised as possible, which is what I tend to do. I don't actually like to watch trailers for movies.
Hmm.
This was an exception for me because I was super, super, super excited and couldn't hold it all in.
You don't watch
Uh,
trailers?
I typically don't. I like to go to a theater knowing next to nothing about the movie I'm about to watch.
Oh man, I like to watch the trailer like when DVDs were a thing. Um, I would always be like, let's watch the trailer before the movie, and all of my friends would roll their eyes so hard. But on the flip side, I don't like to listen to singles before the album comes out. I like to listen to the whole album at once.
Yep, that's how I tend to be as well.
Nerd.
Yep. So, anyways, with that in mind, I'm not going to talk any further about the trailer. I don't want to spoil anything because there's lots of twists and some unforeseen things going on that are blowing everyone's minds.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Cool.
we're just going to leave it at that.
Let's. Um, so next up is just a little bit of housekeeping. We launched, I believe it was last week or the week before, our shiny new website. Woot woot.
Shiny.
And on that shiny new website is a shiny new store where you can get offset merchandise. What?
Or undershirts.
Or undershirts. That's still merchandise. Andrew wears them
It
as
is.
undershirts. I'm not gonna lie, I'm wearing the tank top we have for sale on the website right now. It's very soft.
And I'm also not going to lie, I'm not currently wearing any merch whatsoever. I'm still in church clothes.
Oh, okay. But I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a few people. I'm not going to name your whole names, but the folks who have ordered merch so far. Melissa F. and Dylan C. and Michael H. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. It means the world to us. It's just so cool. I hope you like the shirts. I actually did a test order to make sure the whole process went smoothly. Um, if you're not familiar with drop shipping, that's how we're doing shirts, just because um, we then don't have to have a bunch of shirts in our very small living spaces.
And we don't want to assume everyone's shirt sizes and then
Yeah.
awkwardly end up with tons of insert shirt size here.
Yeah, our and the size on the website, they go all the way up to from like XS to 4X. So it should fit like if our shirts don't work for you, like let us know and if you do get the shirt, let us know what you think. We just like we're new to this. We really want to make this as fun as possible. And if you choose to spend your hard-earned money like supporting us, like we want to support you right back. It's just like I never thought that we would get to that kind of point.
Yeah, it's super humbling, super exciting.
Mhm.
Could not be more thankful for everyone's support. And if you have any questions, we are available. We are here to be your friend. We are here to be accessible.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
we're
and
very much committed to that.
speaking of accessibility, Facebook group.
Yes, but before we do the Facebook group, I want to do something really quick
Okay.
because I wanted to appreciate everyone who's purchased merch so far. So if we just get really quiet here for a second, that's my thank you snaps.
Oh, okay. There we go.
There we go. Thank you
All right.
snaps.
Thank
Yay!
you. Yay. I do
I'm
golf
just very
clap.
excited.
That sounded probably really bad and weird.
Every time I think like golf clap, I think of oh, what's her name from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Oh God, you're so
Uh,
much younger than I am,
Yay
aren't you?
me! Um,
I think of that movie with Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. Is it Demolition Man? Am I making that up? But they do golf clap there.
there's only one Emilio Estevez movie that really counts.
Is it The Breakfast Club?
Yes.
Okay. I'm
Why did you
trying.
say that like you were surprised?
No, it's because I'm trying to think of anything else, and I'm struggling.
Exactly.
Huh.
It's the only Emilio Estevez movie that like really counts in this universe.
I think he's technically in Apocalypse Now.
I'm just firing off hot takes just for the sake of hot takes at this point.
I think he basically played a body double for his dad when his dad had a heart attack during filming of Apocalypse
That
Now.
is super depressing.
Well, they're
I
both
was not
fine.
prepared for that.
What? They're fine. He's fine. Martin Sheen's still
Okay.
alive. He's a Cincinnati Reds fan.
Okay.
He's from Dayton, Ohio. What?
Is everybody from Ohio?
Yeah.
I kind of feel that way.
Yeah, they are.
Um,
We're all from Ohio. Yes, but accessibility.
yes,
We have a
accessibility.
Facebook group.
Wait, what?
We have a Facebook group.
I know, I'm just playing.
It's fun. I mean, you're there. I've seen you. I've seen it. We also have it's really cool. Like I really enjoy how active it is and people talking about everything from their cats to their guitars to like uh,
They're bonfires?
their bonfires.
Heck
Yes.
yeah. Saw
Into that.
someone posted a video of a bonfire with some background music, and I was all about that. And it's taking everything in me right now to not go start a fire in the fire pit during this recording session, just because I know that would create a lot of background noise.
Mm, yeah, I
But
need to
one
get
of
one of
these days,
those.
I just want to record a podcast session, like sitting in front of a fire, sipping on scotch. Just that sounds like a good time.
We could do that. We should do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Just some crackling, making s'mores. Well,
Yep,
if you're
I
in our
think.
Facebook group, sorry to cut
No,
you
no,
off,
no.
Andrew.
I'm just derailing everything with all of
Yeah.
my rabbit trails.
If you're in our Facebook group, we also have a group chat. It's not too overwhelming. It is a lot of cats.
There are
So
definitely lots of cats.
I hope you're not listening to this podcast thinking I just talk about their cats too much. That would make me sad. But yeah, I love my cat, Princess Carrie Fisher. So that's that. Um, the last little piece of housekeeping before we get into sponsors and the topic is if you're enjoying this podcast and you feel so compelled to leave us a positive review on iTunes, it would be very meaningful for us, especially if you like the podcast, if you have too many shirts or don't want to spend money. If you could leave a nice review, that helps us go up in the rankings. So hopefully we'll get more listeners and we can help grow this community and more people can hear these conversations and things. So Andrew, do you want to read the first of the positive reviews that we got this week?
I would love to. All right, so this comes from Lumpy Cam. This is
Lumpy
on
Cam.
Wednesday. And the headline of this is "Great Unique Take on the Topic!" Exclamation mark.
Yay.
It's a 5-star review. And it says, I am a relatively new listener and discovered this podcast from other listeners on a shared Facebook group. I've played guitar since I was 6. My kids also play, and I love the take this podcast has. I am glad this is out there. I think my daughter may enjoy this one over the typical format because it's kind of like talking to me.
Aw.
Guitars and cats can dominate the conversation, or rather, guitars and cats dominate the conversation often.
Oh, that makes
It's
my
a
heart feel
very
so
generic
warm.
name, but I want to be your friend, whoever
Yeah,
Lumpy Kim is.
yeah. If
You
you're
sound awesome.
Lumpy Cam, join our Facebook group and send us a message. We want to give you a
Absolutely.
virtual high five and maybe send you a sticker or something.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. If you
All right,
write a positive review, let us know, and we will send you some swag. Um,
swag.
can I read the next one? Because it makes me
Yep, this is
happy.
all you.
This one's
Hit
called
it.
Get Offset, and it's by Australian heartthrob Rex Manning. This podcast explores issues thoughtfully while not taking itself too seriously. The hosts complement each other well and have a knack for bringing on interesting guests.
Yay!
Rex Manning. Oh, Rex Manning, marry me. No. You don't know who Rex Manning is, do
I'm gonna
you,
have to
Andrew?
tell. I'm gonna have to tell Rick about this.
Uh, Rick knows because he knows because April 8th is Rex Manning Day.
And what exactly is Rex Manning Day?
Oh,
Enlighten me.
Rex Manning Day is it's a day to not dwell, for it is Rex Manning Day. Not today. It's Rex Manning Day. There's this movie that was probably a few years before its time, released in the 90s, called Empire Records. And it has Liv Tyler, Renee Zellweger, um, and some other, oh gosh, people whose names are just escaping me right now.
I
But
think I've seen part of that. Doesn't that have a Chris Cornell cameo in it?
nope, you're thinking of Singles.
I'm so out of it right now. Goodness,
Yes. Yes, you
my bad.
are. But it's a day in the lives of these record store employees, and it's Rex Manning Day. Basically, this sort of washed out former teen heartthrob, uh, played by the guy who plays the main character in Grease 2, another one of my favorite movies. Um, he comes to the store to do an autograph signing. So it's mostly focused on their drama, but the whole surrounding of it is that it's Rex Manning Day. And that's on April 8th. Every year we celebrate, we watch Empire Records, we high five each other, and we we quote our one of our favorite movies. It's kind of a dud when it came out, but it's become quite a big
Cult
quite a
following.
big following. Yeah, yeah. Oh, such a great movie. I'll loan you the DVD sometime.
Yeah, that sounds like I'll have to watch that.
Yes, yes. Rex Manning, total skeeve. But the most famous quote, the most famous quote from that movie is "Damn the man, save the empire,"
Nice.
which actually could go back into Star Wars.
Ooh, Star Wars.
Yes. So sponsors.
Yay! Man, this episode is just full of so many happy things, and it's just a great reminder that we've got a lot of love and support, and I'm super about that.
Same. But
So yes, yeah, let's
today's
talk about
episode
sponsors.
is brought to you by
Jennings Guitars.
what?
If you've been listening to the show, you've probably heard this spiel multiple times, and I'm going to unapologetically let it loose once more. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Jennings Chat is run by a gentleman by the name of Chad Jennings, Jennings Guitars, uh, and he does a phenomenal job. His guitars are all very well reasonably priced. I would say they're too reasonably priced, but hopefully he's not listening, so he doesn't get any ideas because I like those prices. He is an expert luthier. He is well trained. He's not just a hobbyist. This is his career. This is what he's been working towards since he was a kid. This is his life. This is his passion, and he does a fine job with his guitars. They're original. They are super classy looking. I am ordering a Voyager Deluxe,
Oh, it's
and
gonna be
I
so
am
cool.
very excited. I'm just cobbling together the last little bit of change I need to do so, and just I'm everything I can sell and get rid of. I'm just trying to make it happen. Like
Hmm.
this is coming to my fleet,
Yes.
so I'm quite excited.
As you
Yeah.
should be. I'm excited for you. I'm excited because I really want to try it out.
Yeah, so check out Jennings Guitars on Instagram and their website, or just give Chad a message, Facebook, Instagram, whatever works best for you. But hit him up. Super great guy. He's always welcome to answer questions, and he does have a phone number, and he does answer phone calls.
Aw. That,
Yeah.
is he really a millennial if he answers the phone?
I don't see. I hate that stereotype because I'd much rather call someone
Mhm.
than text someone or send an email. It's faster. It's personal. It's just one thing at a time. Rather than like texting 8 different people at the same time. I'd rather call them one at a time. Part of that's because I have a hard, like a really small attention span, and I have a hard time focusing on like more than a couple things at a time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I get sidetracked and then nothing gets done. But I
Ugh,
digress. So yeah, that's
yes.
Jennings Guitars. Check them out if you haven't done so already.
Nice. Well, we started this episode talking about supporting small businesses. And I think we're
Oh,
probably going to spend the rest of the episode talking about the same thing.
that's the plan. And this is why I said I was going to sound a little hypocritical in context, as the people that make Star Wars currently are not a small business. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Oh, no, they're an enormous entity, if not the
Indeed.
biggest. One, probably one of the biggest entertainment entities in the world.
Yeah. So this is a very open-ended topic, and we're kind of see where this goes. But
Mhm.
the my overall take that I'm going to come into this with is I think supporting small businesses such as Jennings Guitars or other small builders
Bookworm
is a
effects, dwarfcraft effects,
and
people
the
we've had
list
on the
goes
show.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had so many incredible guest hosts on the show. I'm just incredibly humbled by that.
Hmm. And it's not because we can't get the big the big dogs, um, that we haven't tried.
Yeah, I feel like we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. Like I have okay, let me just preface this by saying if you have a big company that you've probably worked really, really hard and you totally deserve your success.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. You most likely deserve your success. And I'm happy for you. I'm never going to tell anybody to not buy pedals from whoever they want to buy pedals from. But for me personally, I love having that one on one connection with the pedal builders if I can. Um, Same with shop owners, keeping money local, helping people keep their dreams alive, all very important things to me. And I love looking down at my pedal board and saying, oh, Louise sent that to me, or um, Brian Sprague sent me these, or Brian Bicknell made that for us, or, Leon from Pelican Noise Works made this for me. And
Matthew Hoops. I mean, the
yeah,
list goes
seriously.
goes on and on. No,
Yeah,
I hear that. Well,
I get to associate them with, real people and not like I just yeah, I'm
okay,
having
so
trouble with that.
I know you're incredibly positive, and while I appreciate that, I now feel it necessary to come in as devil's advocate here a little bit.
Talk some yang
Yeah,
to my yin.
uh, sure, we'll use that. Um, so I just want to come into this with as a discussion. I recognize that we live in a capitalistic society. Capitalism is a thing for a reason, and whether you love it or hate it, that's kind of the way things are running right now. And there's a lot of people that do love it, and that's how they operate. And I'm not going to sit here and say whether or not someone should or should not follow that, but
Mhm.
I do think that there is a merit to the flip side of wanting to support small businesses. Is it's not there's more to it than that, and
Well, it's
what
mindful capitalism because these people start businesses like that is the American dream is that you can like make a living doing your own thing. Like no like you don't have to necessarily have to have a boss.
right? Well, yes and no. So I'm trying to think of where I can come at this with um I'm just going to jump right into an example,
Okay.
and this is going to be an indirect way of let's say I okay, here we go. You ready?
As ready as I'm going to be.
Same. So if I've got say a 1981 inventions DRV, and that's yeah, I've supported a small builder, and I've got a couple of this kind of stuff from other builders, but then I am looking for an effect, and I love supporting small businesses, but I'm on a tight budget, so I pick up, let's say, a Behringer, a Moore, or a Donner, and it's not negatively impacting another business because I'm not stealing from them. but I think the where this turns into a bit more of a gray area, and not to be in a judgmental sort of way towards anyone who's purchased uh, budget gear. It's a question of like, oh well, is this really not having an impact? And I think this kind of conversation also got brought up on an earlier episode when we talked about presets and
Mhm.
IRs, the digital components, the code part of some of those digital pedals of like, oh well, like I can rip this from my buddy's got this. I can just take a copy from him without paying for it because it's not really impacting someone. And I think the conversation for us to talk about is it's not really so black and white as simple as I give my money to one company and it's good for them and it doesn't affect anybody else.
Mhm. And if you're following along that, and you wanna go back to listen to that original episode, it was episode 4.
Oh, it was that early? Wow. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a great episode. That actually stirred up a lot of chatter, and I think it was someone at Own Hammer popped on one of the forums
Mhm.
and says like I think they were saying that they were incredibly disturbed and like bothered by the fact that people didn't understand how the stuff works and how that
Right.
directly impacts his ability to feed his family.
Mhm.
Uh,
Because the idea is, like, if you're not paying money for a thing that he made and he relies on as his livelihood, then, in the same way that Borrow to Burn, dismantled the music industry in a lot of ways, that could possibly happen to the people who spend a lot of time making these presets that we like. And that kind of can go into, um, uh, things that aren't necessarily presets, but are budget clones. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I mean that's exactly what I'm saying. And uh, I'm gonna say the things I'm saying with a very open hand. With my
And
just
just and also no judgment.
no, I mean I've had budget gear before. I think I've still got budget gear now.
Mhm.
So I don't want to sound judgy or anything. My goal in having this is just to start a conversation,
Right.
and so the conversation is the concept that our decisions have wider ripple effects than I think we realize.
Mhm.
And so let's say if we're purchasing Behringer stuff because it's just because it's an accessible effect or Moore or Donner. There's the this is great when a couple months ago, Electro Harmonics announced that they won a lawsuit against Moore
Which is
because Moore,
insane. Yeah. In
well,
China, they won that lawsuit.
right, in China's court system isn't known for being very kind to capitalism,
Or intellectual property.
right, and
So that's
so
enormous that they won that.
oh yeah, it's a really big deal, and the reason why what exactly happened is that Moore ripped the digital code out of a POG, which is Electro Harmonics' octave pedal.
Mhm.
So they completely lifted that and then downloaded it into their own octave pedal. And they had done such a sloppy job that they'd even kept the copyright notice from Electro Harmonics in their pedal,
Yep.
like in the
Yep.
code. They just ripped everything piece for piece, and I think it's a super bummer because that's at that point it's just a pog with cheaper components, and I'm not super cool with that.
I'm not cool with that at all. And if of all places, not to rip on China, just their legal system is notoriously lax on intellectual property and copyrights and trademarks. So I think that's pretty clear, like black and white, cut and dry. What Moore did in this instance was
Right.
wrong.
In that instance, definitely.
But what
Uh,
about with analog components? Because nobody owns electricity, as we discussed with Brian
right.
Bicknell.
An analog, so an analog circuit, I could copy a Boss SD1 bit for bit and sell it. I don't know why I'd want to do that, but because you
Because
can
it's
get those
awesome.
well, it is awesome, but you can get them used for $30. Let's say
Yeah.
King of Tone. Those sell for obnoxious amounts of money used. And I could clone that piece for piece and sell it, and that would legally be okay. And it's this is where we get into the gray area of what's the difference between a clone and what's the difference between uh,
Total ripoff.
well, there's a ripoff and then there's clones, which it's totally fair game to take someone else's circuit and
Hmm.
clone most of it, but make some different key differences.
Yeah.
And because there every little variable makes such a difference.
Right.
And I in no means want to rip on small builders who build variations on established circuits. But I think what I'm trying to get at is a large, particularly large companies uh, who are punching down, so to speak. Just as the power dynamic is, they've got
Hmm.
companies like that have the production power and whatnot that just completely overwhelm small builders. And I don't think that I honestly don't think they deserve it. Question mark. I don't.
Yeah, I think that like there are plenty of mirrored examples of this and other facets of, consumerism in general. Urban Outfitters, for example, is notorious for like scrolling through Etsy, seeing a design they like, and stamping it on their own stuff. Like that happens in fashion quite a lot, and there's little if no recourse um, for those designers who originally came up with this idea or that slogan because they don't have the money to fight it. And if they don't
Right.
trademark like a saying with a design, and a lot of them don't, because they're like weekend hobbyists, it's a lot harder for them to come back and say, "Wait, I you're selling this thing for $50 and I was selling it for 30, but more people know you exist than I exist." Like, what can you do for that? So, I guess my question to you, Andrew, is can you think of examples where big companies have taken the designs of smaller companies? Because when I see cloning, I think it seems to me that um, uh, the bigger direction that goes is, it's more likely a small company clones a big pedal or a big company clones another big company, like Moore and Electro Harmonics, or is it Behringer and Boss?
Behringer clones a lot of Boss stuff, but they also clone other things
Yeah,
as well and have historically. And particularly their analog circuits tend to be like part for part recreations of these clones. And like I get it, it's I'm conflicted in the sense that I understand that there's a need for budget gear. This is like the reason why I love budget gear is like Squire. You've got to have the Squires in the guitar world to make it accessible for new players.
right.
Uh, but Squire's owned by Fender.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just it's all super muddy, and I guess my goal here is not to come out with any solid conclusions of what people should or should not do. It, for those listening to this, I want them to just take a moment and think about their spending habits and how that could possibly affect small businesses or even moderate sized businesses, or just thinking about things in terms of how I spend my money has much more of an impact than the direct transaction.
Right. I think that's fair. I think that younger generations are becoming more uh, interested in that. I think
Yeah.
that is apparent in a lot of facets of society right now, from revitalization of urban areas to the boom we've seen in recent years, that may or may not be plateauing, but seems to be plateauing, of this boutique gear industry and pedals and effects. And um, yeah, I think I think that's something to think about. That's something I like to think about. Um, I love budget gear too, though. I like to be able to get something more affordable to decide if I even like an effect type. Like, I'm not going to go out and buy the Earthquaker pyramids when I've never, as my first flanger. That would be insane. Can you
Right.
imagine?
Um, I can't imagine because it was my second flanger, and my first one was Chase Bliss.
Oh, jeez, dude. Oh,
Yeah, the first flanger I owned was
champagne,
the
man.
yeah that one. That's actually probably the most epic flip I've ever had. because I
We've
got
talked
that
about that one. That's
yeah,
insane.
for $100.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, but I paid much like not much less for my first flanger. I paid
Uh,
$80 for a more or a something like that.
yep. So budget gear definitely has its place. I think if you're looking at purchasing budget gear, just maybe seek out options or just consider where you're spending your money. I'm
No.
personally not going to make a statement of what companies you should and should not buy from because I don't want to get into any sticky situations here.
No.
But
No, and
um,
I would never want to like explicitly tell someone how they should or should not spend their money in general. But I think it's something to consider. I think it's important to consider just generally what affects your actions have on everything because
no pun intended.
when I listen to it later, I'm sure I'll know exactly why you laughed. But right now, I'm like, um, yeah, I, I hate to quote mommy bloggers, but I used to have a client, and through that client, the work I had to do was I had to reach out to mommy bloggers a lot. And one of the a lot of them are about finance, like managing your finances, like how to save money when you have like a lot of kids and it's important. And one woman said, "How you spend your money shows what you value in life." And I think that's just so true.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because we all make decisions about how we spend our money or how we don't spend our money. Because as my therapist says, sometimes, not doing anything is making a decision.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
Therapy session.
I
Yeah.
know this conversation's been super convoluted. And thank you for bearing with us through this so far.
Yeah.
I think this is just us opening a can of worms. Uh, it, and I want to continue this conversation in the group. Let's talk
Yeah.
about budget gear. Let's talk about
Clones.
join our Facebook group. Let's have a discussion about this. We're
Yeah.
like I've said before multiple times on the podcast, is we're not here to provide the absolute conclusive. This is what you should and should not do, and this is who's right and who's wrong. Because good gravy, I don't need that kind of responsibility.
Oh, no
Uh,
way.
and I'm not nearly arrogant. I'm a little arrogant, but I'm not arrogant enough to think that I've got the set answers for this kind of stuff.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
so yeah, join the group. Let's talk about this kind of stuff. Let's talk about the budget gear companies of the world
Mhm.
and how what we can be doing,
Yes.
how we can be best spending our money, but how we can be best supporting this community. Because it's one of my favorite things about the guitar world is this is very much a community, and we're all in this together. And I sound like such a total hippie right now, but that's okay.
Sunshine Renard.
Yeah, man, just just gotta love each other, man.
Ah, would it
That
be an
voice has to
episode to
come out
get
once an
offset
episode.
without that voice?
No, it has to come out once an episode.
Yes, but it's not usually you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That it
Felt
just
right.
felt like the right time, you know?
It just felt like,
So
yeah,
righteous.
righteous. Well, on
You want
that
to go to
note,
In and Out later?
no, I don't.
I
Well,
want In and Out so bad now. Shoot. Yeah,
Cali Burger.
I'm having In and Out soon,
Oh, yep,
and
you're going
it's
to
gonna be
California.
tremendous.
Early May?
Something like that.
Yeah, cool.
I'm planning on keeping it to a more family-based trip, so I'll keep the details private for the
Cool.
podcast sake.
Cool, cool. Cool,
So,
cool, cool, cool,
yeah,
cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for understanding. This has been the Get Offset podcast. Again, I'm Emily.
and I am Andrew.
Goodbye.